All righty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our July 2023 Lunch and Learn with Miss Laura Wright. Today, we can go ahead. Thank you. I'm Emily Kalshoven with McDermott Graphic Solutions, and I'm joined by my new co-chair, Kara Winowski from BioOrigin Specialty Products. And we on the Women of Flexo Committee, just to tell you a little bit about what we do, we have 4 subcommittees that we work with. We can change the slide now. Thank you. Oh, I jumped ahead. My apologies. So the Women of Flexo Committee, as some of you may know, we are a group of women in the Flexo industry that work to support and promote women within the Flexo industry through all sorts of different opportunities. So we have 4 subcommittees that make up our steering committee, that they each do a little piece, a lot of little pieces to put on events and initiatives for the women in our industry. So we have the Leadership Development Committee, Recruitment and Engagement, Marketing and Strategy, and the Mentorship Committee. If you want to learn more about any of these groups, check out our website, number 1, womenofflexo.org. You can email any of the emails on the screen here if you want to learn more about any of the individual subcommittees themselves. And be sure to follow us on our LinkedIn page. Today we have, like I said, Miss Laura Wright from CSW, and she's going to take us through part 2 of this series. Thank you, Laura. I'm so excited to hear part 2. So whenever you're ready, take it away.
All right, I'll take it away. Thanks for the introduction, and welcome everyone to part 2 of this seminar. And my slides aren't advancing right now. Oh, there we go. All right. So
hey, Laura, real quick, can you turn your camera back on?
Oh, gee. Oh, you have to
there we
see
go.
me?
All right.
All right.
Now I'll say.
Thanks, Emily. I'm glad you're here. So this is part 2 of dealing with difficult people. Last month I gave part 1. And for those of you who attended the live Women of Flexo event, I gave this seminar then too. So we're just kind of giving everyone an opportunity to see it. And this is recorded on the website, and I think you'll all get a link for the recording tomorrow. So don't worry if you didn't attend part 1. Part 1 was really in general how to deal with difficult people, how to approach them, and in general how to think about yourself and the interaction with them. But we're going to get more specific today, and I will review some of the concepts from that session, but we'll get more specific today about interactions with these people, actual conversations with them, and how to manage these people. You know, I think as managers, really what you want to do is be spending most of your time with the people who do a really good job, right? But in reality, we spend a lot of time and energy dealing with difficult people, people that need extra help or maybe causing some issues or having problems. So my goal during this session is to give you some tools that you can use to reduce that stress that brings and reduce the amount of time that it's taking to work with these people. Just kind of like little ins that might give you a leg up and get conversations going. So I'm going to go back a little bit and I'm going to talk about just a couple of things that I want you to know before we start. Okay. One is that I'm not a psychologist and I'm not an expert on this subject. We just kind of distributed topics that you all said you were interested in, and we all did our research. And so think of this as kind of a book report, but it is filtered through my experience. I've been managing a company for 25 years, and I've dealt with a lot of difficult people. So the information that I got from books and podcasts and all that is filtered through my experience, and hopefully you'll gain something from that too. One point I do want to make is that even though we're calling these people, difficult people, we're not saying that they're necessarily bad. We all have personal histories, and we've found ways of managing our lives and getting our needs met. And that's what's going on with these people. They've learned over the course of their life how to get their needs and desires fulfilled. And sometimes it just doesn't mesh with what normal social norms are, and that makes them a little difficult, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. So I just want to be clear about that. And I think we also all have to think about the fact that we all at some point are difficult. You know, we all have aspects or times during our lives when we may be difficult. So I guess a little sympathy all around there. The other thing that I want to remind you is that you can't change people. Like I said, this is something that these people have developed their personalities over the course of their lives. This is years of reinforcement here. You're not going to change them, but your job as a manager is to manage their behavior. So we're looking at that. How do I change someone's behavior? This is not about you providing therapy. There's no way that you're going to be able to do that as a manager. We just need them to change their behaviors so that they can effectively do their job and you can do yours. So this is from the last seminar, a little bit of review. The first thing you need to do is to prepare your mindset. So one of the things you need to do is be hopeful about any interaction that you're having. And I know that's really hard. These people inspire a lot of frustration and exhaustion in some cases. But you really need to step back as a manager and you need to say, okay, I think I can handle this. I am hopeful that this interaction is going to go well. It doesn't mean you're going to solve the problem with this interaction, but it means you're going to make some progress. And this does take patience. It may take more than one meeting with this person to really start seeing some change. So be hopeful, be positive. The other is to be strong. And this is a big point from my last seminar. Don't go into this meeting tired because you didn't sleep the night before or hungry because you haven't had lunch yet. Be physically strong, but also be emotionally strong. Really be in touch with what your morals, ethics, your values are, because you're going to have to kind of stand up for them. And that's part of trusting your gut. Be aware of what your gut's telling you. Be aware of when this person is taking you outside of your comfort zone. A lot of the personalities that we're going to be talking about do that. And that's how they get you to meet their need, is by taking you outside of that. I want you to really be aware of what's making you uncomfortable and stop things. Remind yourself again that you're not responsible for this person's happiness. You're not going to change their character. You're not really going to change them. You're just changing their behavior. And part of trusting your gut is knowing personal boundaries, like knowing what you're comfortable with, what you'll allow from this relationship, and what you won't allow. And I missed seek help. If you have an HR department, you might want to meet with them ahead of time and say, "Hey, can I walk through this interaction with you? Help me think about how this is going to go." Maybe you have a friend who's also a manager, or someone else in your company who's managing or interacting with this person. You could just say, "Hey, I have to deal with this. What do you think would happen if?" You know, so make sure you ask for help. Certainly don't gossip or pick on the person or be negative in any way. You're just looking for a little bit of assistance to help you think about how the interaction is going to go. So that's our mindset. So now I want to talk about I just want to give you kind of a map to a successful interaction with a person like this. And so these are the steps that you're going to go through in this conversation or meeting that you have with them. Before the meeting, you're going to want to control your emotions. So again, they've maybe escalated you. There's an issue. Yes, it's really hard to get out of that mindset, but you got to be the adult in the room. You're going to control your emotions because you see how important that is as we go through, because they're really escalating things. You're going to be that rock, that anchor. So control your emotions and really think first before the meeting about how you want this meeting to go. Kind of run through some dialogues in your head. If I said this, what do I think they do? You probably know this person pretty well because you've spent a lot of time with them. So really think about how it's going to go and what you want to gain from it. What do you want to accomplish? So when you start the interaction, one of the first things you're going to do is you want to gain an understanding of where they're coming from. So they've created a problem, or you need to address something with them. Get an understanding of where they're coming from. You might be very clear that this is a problem. They may not be, and they may have a reason for it. So before you go into trying to solve the problem, get an understanding of where they're coming from, and just kind of have that conversation so you understand and you can better come up with a solution that will be beneficial to both of you. You want to focus on the facts, and this is going to come up again and again. Again, a lot of these people are emotionally motivated. They're succumbing to emotions, and you need to be their anchor, their rock, and focus them on the facts. So you've gained an understanding, you're asking what the facts are, and you're defining the problem. So you know what the problem is, and you want to make sure that they're very clear about what the problem is. You have to speak very clearly and plainly, and with total control of your emotions. Like, watch, don't make faces, don't do any of that. Be really that steady Eddie in the meeting, defining the problem. Once you have the problem on the table, then you can offer a solution. And this is where it becomes a little bit more collaborative, because you want their perspective also considered in the solution. And all of you know, if you don't get buy-in, it's going to be a tough road. So, get their buy-in, get their feedback on the solution, and come to a mutually agreeable resolution. So those are kind of 6 basic steps to go through. So just kind of keep those in your back pocket as you plan or think out this interaction. One thing I'd like to say is that it only helps if you can, throughout this conversation, kind of sprinkle in some positive things like, hey, John, I really like working with you. Thanks so much for your help with the spreadsheet. You're so good at those. But I just need to talk to you about this thing that's come up. And at the end, make sure they know that you appreciate that they've had this discussion with you, and that you appreciate that you're going to be able to work better, and you're looking forward to that at the end. So, this is a person, interact with them respectfully, and hopefully you'll gain at least some ground. Again, it may not be the last meeting you have with them, but hopefully you've made some progress. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this, and we're going to talk about these 8 different types of personality. So we'll talk about, I'm going to give you some keys to dealing with each of these. All right, let's start first with the drama king or queen, because it can be guys too. We often say drama queen, but I know many guys who are doing this. So what is a drama queen? They love to experience and cause highly charged emotional reactions. So they love to have these reactions, and they love to get other people feeling them too. So the scene, all the blah, 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 escalating. They love it. They feed off of it. And the best thing to do when interacting with these, besides following those steps, is to focus on the facts. So this is total emotion that they're coming from. You need to get them to focus on what reality is. So they may be saying, geez, I have a new boss. I know they're not going to recognize how well I do. I'm going to end up getting fired. I'm going to have to file for bankruptcy. I'm going to lose my house. They get into the drama of it. Get them out of that. Refocus them on the facts. Okay, you have a new boss. Well, what would make you think that would happen? And what evidence do you have? What facts would say the opposite? You've gotten great reviews the past several years. Why would you think that would happen? And haven't you had other bosses that have come in and you've been successful in those relationships? So you need to get them back again to the facts while remaining calm, cool, and collected. And if they try to, if they revert to the emotion, just get them back. Hey, let's just talk about the facts. I know you feel that way, but we really need to talk about what reality is here, because you're getting bogged down in your emotions. So if they refuse to do that, it's really important that you end the conversation, because it's going to go nowhere, and there is the risk that they're going to escalate you in the process. So end the conversation, just say to them, hey, why don't you get the facts together and we'll meet in a couple hours and resume this. So there's drama queen. Negative personality. This personality, like drama queen, can be very contagious. So you have to watch out for your department across the board. You want to definitely nip this in the bud. And their negative view of the world causes them to expect the worst. And again, they need to be brought down to the facts. You know, what facts brought you to this conclusion? If they're overreacting about something, what do you really believe is going to happen? You know, because they've over dramatized it. They've really gotten wound up. What in reality would happen? And are there facts to support an alternative outcome? So very similar to the drama king or queen, right? And that facts part is going to come up again and again. And again, you're calm, cool, collected, getting them through this because they need that anchor. All right, blamers. This one's tough because these people are, they're bordering on narcissists, right? So they've done something wrong or they're partially responsible for something. Their first reaction is to deflect the responsibility or issue to somebody else. And they're not just saying, oh, I didn't get that done because I didn't have the information that I needed. They're saying, I didn't get that done because Joe didn't give me the data that I needed. They're actually targeting a person, and that can get really dangerous. And that can also be contagious if they start to enlist other people against a person. So definitely important that you stop this immediately. When you're meeting with them, don't allow this person to talk about others. This is not about other people. They need to take accountability for their own action and for getting the results that you need from them. So don't allow them to do that. You need to focus the conversation on their actions and what they have control of. Because they'll say, well, it was out of my control. You're like, you say, no, how could you have behaved differently to change that? There are things that you can do that are within your control to have changed that outcome and to allow you to perform the way you're supposed to be. All right, we'll move on. And I know this is a lot, and I'm just unloading all this on you, but hopefully you can go back and look at the slides if you need to. So problem bringers, so the next one, and these people are the opposite of problem solvers. They see a problem and they bring it to somebody else immediately. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'm giving it to you, right? So you're their manager, and what you want to do is guide the person to solve the problem themselves, because the last thing you want is for everyone to be bringing their problems to you. You need a staff that takes initiative, that thinks about what they're doing, and can get beyond the small problems so that they can do their job without having to check with you. If you have more than one of these, or if this keeps coming up for you, definitely take a look at how you're managing, because you may be conveying to them in some way that they need your approval to do things. So that may be part of the problem. They don't feel confident that you're okay with them solving the problems. They may think that you want to have a hand in doing that yourself. And you may be micromanaging a little bit. So as a manager, you want to make sure that you're fostering that sense of independence and that they know that you trust them to solve the problem. And I tell my people all the time, I said, I know that you're not going to always come up with the right solution that works. I make mistakes all the time, right? But at least come up with a solution, try it. And as long as there's rationale behind it, there's nothing wrong with that. We all try things and they don't work. So don't worry about it. But as you guide them, you know, that's part of it, giving them permission to fail in some ways and allowing them and helping them to think about the problem and how to approach it. So you're going to ask them what their plan is for solving the problem. And that may take a number of questions. You may have to kind of delve into, all right, why would you do that? How would you do that? When would you do that? Who would you include? You know, really helping them think about how to do this. Above all, do not take the monkey on your back. And I don't know how many of you have read this famous Harvard Business Review article that kind of initiated this, but this is the idea that they have this monkey and you can picture it shattering and crawling all over them. And the first thing they want to do is put it on your back, right? And you as a manager can't take everyone's monkey. You've got enough of your own. They need to solve these problems. All right, next one, overly sensitive personalities. So this is not a big one, and some of you answered a poll before this about the types of personalities that are affecting you right now, and actually nobody answered that this was one of them. I have a feeling that it's because these people are fairly quiet and they don't have the effect on an organization that a narcissist or a blamer or a drama queen would have. They're kind of in their own world, but it is important to kind of know how to deal with them. And these people are different from the others. The other personalities, or many of them, are very ego-driven, and this person's the opposite. They have a very low self-esteem, and they feel that they don't personally control what happens in their lives. So this is a person that you go to with a review, and you have constructive criticism, and they break down. They're crying, for whatever. And we all know we go through periods that are difficult in our lives, which may affect it. But this is a person that will respond to this pretty consistently in this way. They really need an ego boost from you. You need to let them know without question that you know that they have the ability and the competence to deal with the situation. And they need to know that you have faith in them, that you know without a doubt that they can accomplish the specific task that you're asking them to accomplish. Whether it's getting the data right on a spreadsheet or holding effective meetings. I know that you have the ability to do this, and I know that you can accomplish this. I have all the faith in the world that you can do this without a doubt. And that really bolsters them and helps them to overcome their feelings a little bit. The aspect of their personality that says they're out of control with their lives also needs to be dealt with. And one of the best ways to do this is to say, I need you to pay more attention to this. Now, because they're going to hear you say, I know you can do this. And all these things are going to pop into their head, right? They're going to say, but what if this happens? What if my car breaks down? What if this person's not there? What if they undermine me or my efforts? No, all I want you to do is pay more attention to this. And that is something that's in their control. And it seems kind of a funny thing to say, but it's a very small ask of them, and they know they can do it. So try it, and I think you've just boosted their confidence, and I think you're getting them over the hump to say, I want you to put attention to this. I need you to focus on this, and I need you to do a good job with it. All right, let's move on. Advantage takers. So remember, I talked about knowing your morals and ethics and really being in touch with your values and knowing your boundaries and trusting your gut when somebody pushes you over the edge. These are the people that are going to push you over the edge most frequently. They're always on the lookout for ways to exploit a situation and to get what they want. And they take advantage of good people by asking them to take on work or bend the rules. And I think we've all encountered them. It's really hard, especially if you're someone who wants to help people. It's hard to overcome them, and they know who you are and they'll go after you. So you've got to be really strong in these conversations. You can let them know that you realize that their request is important to them because they have a need of some kind that they're trying to get fulfilled. And for these type of people, it's very urgent. They have to get it fulfilled. So you can say, hey, I know this is really important to you that you get this information or you get this done. But then say, but no, I have thought about this and I won't do that. So you need to really clearly and briefly state that. Don't go into an explanation because you're just opening up the opportunity for them to argue with you about it. And absolutely, definitely do not apologize for saying no. The last thing you want to do is say, I'm so sorry, but I can't do that. Because that gives them an edge. It makes them feel like, oh, I have a little bit of leeway here because they're starting to feel sorry for me. Maybe I can, stress my case a little more. So really be strong, really stick to your guns about your ethics, about the rules, and just clearly state, no, not going to happen. The confidently incompetent. This is a really fun one. And surprisingly, your surveys showed a lot of these out there, which I was just so surprised to find this. This is kind of a compound thing for me, because you have kind of a really egocentric person who's doing a job, but they don't know they're doing it badly. And I've encountered them too. It's really hard because I often wonder, how is it that they don't see that they're doing a bad job? Well, they're in their own head. So the way of managing them is to try to take them out of that mindset, to try to get them to look at this in a broader perspective. They're in their mind. They're like, I'm great. I'm doing this great. Possibly they're saying other people are doing it wrong. So you need to kind of get them to think about, what is it that makes someone successful in this job or in this area that you're looking at for them to improve. So have a conversation about that, about what someone might need, how you would tell that someone is successful in this. And that kind of pulls them outside, and it makes them look at the job itself and what the responsibilities are. So say you have a customer service rep, and they say, well, indication that someone would be doing good was that production or fulfillment wouldn't have to come back with questions on the order, that I've submitted the order with all the information and correct information, and it's clearly written as to what the customer needs. So I wouldn't get questions from them. Great, that's just like where you want to go, where they want to be. And this may take a while because they may have a different idea of what success is from what you're thinking. So there's a little conversation in there. And then have them think about, if you found out that you weren't doing well, how would you improve on these areas? How would somebody improve? And start to get them to think about, well, what would I need to be doing to actually be successful? And ask them what they feel, how they feel they're doing with the job. And that kind of gets them focused on themselves. So again, you're taking them out of that mindset. Right, the last one I want to talk about is narcissists, and these are probably the most difficult personality to deal with. They have huge egos, right? And they'll do whatever it takes to meet their own needs. One interesting fact is they often suffer from paranoia, which makes them even more difficult to deal with. And they also may have other difficult personality traits, like blaming people, or other, just being difficult in other ways that kind of compound it and complicate dealing with them as a narcissist. So this is kind of this is a difficult situation, and you may find this approach difficult, but I have to say that I've tried this and it worked amazingly. So the first thing you want to do is you want to kind of feed into that ego, and you want to compliment them on their general intelligence and knowledge. Like, you always do a great job, John. It's really great to have you here. And then express the fact that they may have been frustrated by a situation in which they didn't perform well. You always come through. You must have been really frustrated by this project that you're doing that's taking like twice as long as we expected it to take. And a lot of times that opens it up. So you've opened it up. You haven't shut them down with some kind of blame, because they're not going to accept that. You've complimented them. They're open, and they can express the frustration without being threatened. They know that you're on their side, right? And let them know that this issue may affect how others perceive the quality of their work. Very important to these people that they're perceived as being really good at what they do. So you may say something like, a couple of people have come to me and expressed concern that this may not be the best way to handle the project. That will key them off to start listening, and also open their mind to the fact that, other people are seeing this. But then, as with many of these, you need to get their buy-in. So ask what they think would be a good solution. These are generally really intelligent people. They do a good job, or you wouldn't have them around. Ask them what they think the solution would be. And again, follow those 6 steps so that you're coming to a mutually agreeable solution. All right, we went through all of the 8 personalities. I just want to give a quick summary, and then we're going to go into Q&A. These are some key takeaways, and this slide is actually from the last presentation too. But just some things to remember. come from a position of strength and personal values. And we talked a lot about that. Try to listen and understand what the underlying cause of the behavior is. Empathetic listening is so important, and you really can't get anywhere until you get into their head to some extent. Respect the person and demand respect from them. Remember, keep those morals, ethics, values right close to your heart and trust your gut. Speak clearly and factually. Never let them get you pulled into some emotional response. Set clear boundaries. So they may try to push you outside of your boundaries. Do not be very clear about how far you're going to go. And do not accept abusive behavior. We did not talk about this, but if you start to feel threatened, you end the meeting and you find a resource, whether it's human resources or someone else, someone bigger, right? Don't accept abusive behavior, and don't accept a threatening behavior. Get out of the situation. It's not your responsibility as a manager to put yourself in jeopardy. So here's just some credits, a couple books that I went through and some podcasts, and these again will be available to you through the link, and we'll go into Q&A.
All right, so we do have questions.
Great.
The first question is, do you have a suggestion to manage people who can't follow instruction? Clear instructions were given and communicated to make sure there was no confusion, but the person deviated from the task and explored other areas and did not accomplish what was originally asked.
Yeah, I have had a lot of these. I'm sure you guys have too. So Emily and Kara, you're going to help me answer these questions, but I'll just say, in that case, I find that putting things in writing really helps, because a lot of times those people they forget, or they hear it differently, they remember it differently from what you do, and it's great to be able to refer back. Another way to deal with these people is to check in with them. So, hey, we had a meeting yesterday. I sent you the summary. Do you agree with it? How are you doing at accomplishing these things and following those instructions? And as with any of these, if they don't follow the instructions, you need to immediately address it. You need to go back and say, Emily, you're nodding. Have you dealt with someone like this?
You know, I was thinking when you said like put it in writing, that sparked for me, that actually hits so many different things, because it gives some accountability and it's almost an agreement that you can refer back to. But on top of that, some people just process information differently. Maybe like if you tell them something auditorily, they'll hear it, they think that they remember it, and maybe it doesn't actually transfer. So looking at things in that way of like, what's the most effective holistic approach that would, button that up for someone in every single way, that's a really good piece of advice. I like that. In general, though, you crushed it. That was a good response.
Thanks.
Do you have anything to add to that last one?
Me? No, I think that's about it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have a couple. Kara.
Yeah, so this one says, I deal with generational differences. We work with technology and some people just refused and then told me to do it since I wanted it done. What is a good response?
That's a really hard one. But, a lot of people are uncomfortable with technology. That's tough. It is important to have training available, make sure that they have the resources available to them to really gradually introduce them, because I'm not young, and I know that younger people, you guys grasp this. Like Carrie, you're probably like, yeah, of course I know that. Grew up on a keyboard, right? Older people who have not used these methods or programs and stuff like it's hard. They don't think that way. They're more interactive. So we're on the phone or in meetings. And it takes a while. So it takes a lot of patience to do that. And it takes really clear training. And it may take more than one training session. I have had people who have had a really hard time with it, and it just takes a little while. And then once they get it, they get it. But there's also a level of understanding that needs to be taken into account. Sometimes they don't understand how it works. You know, for instance, they may run a program on a computer, and you ask them to use a different program. They may think you need a different computer to run that because it's the other program's on this computer, but I need another computer to put this on. You know, there's just a whole different way of thinking about it that may never occur to you. So be patient, make sure they get the training, give them some time. And, you know, if they ask you to do it, help them to learn. I guess make sure they're sitting with you, watching you do it. You know, don't take the monkey on your back, right? You know.
That's what I was going to say, is I would offer to help them understand, and, you know, say, yeah, I'm happy to do it this time, but in the future, this is a responsibility that you should take on. And I am happy to sit down with you and go over this and teach you everything that you need to know, you know, as many times as you need it until it clicks.
Yeah, that's a great response. Yeah. And I noticed we're a little over. Do we want to go a couple more minutes or one or two questions?
We do have one more question.
Okay, cool.
Okay, how can I limit the way a difficult personality is negatively affecting the morale in my department?
Oh, that's a good one, because it can be contagious. And you have good people who may want to leave because they're having to deal with this person that's affecting their performance. So they have high standards for themselves, but maybe this person's not pulling their weight and it's affecting their ability to be successful. I think one really important thing is to make sure that those people that are being affected by it, where their morale is being affected, that they know that you appreciate their performance. They really need to be bolstered. They need to know that you recognize that they do a good job, that this person may be affecting the way they perform, but you know that that's the case. You know, I know you do a great job. I expect it from you, and I really appreciate it. And that not only kind of bolsters them, but it also bolsters you. I know as a manager, if I can compliment somebody, that really helps me feel good about my department. And it kind of insulates both of you against this person. So, you know, you're kind of reinforcing the positive aspects of the team. Any other suggestions for this person?
I thought that was really good. I would say, like, compassion and curiosity are a really good strategy for anyone, right? So if it's a difficult person, right, compassion and curiosity. And if it's someone having a difficult time with a difficult person, compassion and curiosity, right?
Mhm.
They can go a long way for both of those groups.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think that might be it for the day.
All right. Well, thanks,
anyone-
everybody.
Yeah. Hey, Laura, thank you. That was really great. We really
I hope I rushed through it. I hope everyone got something from it, but that's a fun topic. So
always opportunity to learn, right?
that's right.
That's right. Yeah. So wonderful work. Great job. And thank you for sharing this with our group.
Thanks for the opportunity to.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email Laura or check out our website, get us on there, email our Women of Flexo Gmail, and let us know if you have any questions. But until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Emily, Kara. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.